It started last Thursday, just after midnight, the kind of silence that makes your skin crawl. I live alone in a small two-story house on the edge of a forgotten rural town, barely held together by broken fences and rusted mailboxes. I'm a freelance sound designer, which means I work odd hours. That night, I was finalizing audio for a short horror film, a teeny. The power cut out around 12:17 a.m., everything black, a teeny. Not even the hum of the fridge remained. I sat frozen, waiting for the emergency lights to flicker on. Didn't. But something else did. Tap tap, tap dot, from upstairs. My heart kicked like a startled horse in my chest. I grabbed my phone dead. I swear I had it at 72% just minutes earlier. My watch stuck at 12:17. I moved slowly, trying to convince myself it was the old pipes or the wind. I crept to the foot of the stairs. Nothing, but the tapping continued. Not irregular, not frantic, rhythmic, like someone was drumming fingers across the wooden floorboards. I grabbed the fireplace poker and climbed each step, one by one. At the top, I saw it. The hallway light, the only thing still glowing, flickered softly. The bedroom door at the end stood ajar. And behind it, a shadow, tall and still. I blinked hard, my breath tight in my throat. When I took another step forward, the tapping stopped, then the door slammed shut. I didn't sleep that night. I left the house around 2 a.m. and sat in my car in the driveway until dawn, watching the upstairs window, praying I'd imagined it all. The door hadn't reopened, but I never saw the shadow leave. I returned inside around 7 a.m. It felt different. The air was heavy, like something unseen was weighing it down. I showered, checked. My phone nit powered on like nothing had happened. No battery drain, no time glitch, except for one strange detail. One recording in my voice memo app, time-stamped 12:17 a.m. It was only 3 seconds long. Just breathing, not mine. Deep, ragged breathing. Then a whisper, impossible to mistake. You're not alone anymore. That night, I tried to stay with my sister. She thought I was being dramatic, told me I work on too much horror stuff, and it's messing with my head. I couldn't convince her, so I drove back home. Stupid, I know. Everything seemed normal. But at exactly 12:17 a.m., the TV flicked on by itself. No remote, no power button touched. It showed static. Then my upstairs hallway, from a camera angle I don't own. I couldn't move. I watched the grainy feed as the hallway door creaked open slowly on the screen. Something stepped out, tall, distorted, faceless, with a neck too long. Joints bending the wrong way. It turned to face the camera, and then it spoke. Still alone. I called a priest. He didn't come. I called my friend Mark. He came with a baseball bat and a crucifix. At least that was something. We searched the entire house. Mark even joked about fighting demons like Doom Guy. That was before we opened the attic. Except I don't have an attic. There's no hatch, no ladder, no ceiling entrance. Never had one. But that night, we found a narrow wooden door at the end of the upstairs hallway. A door we both knew wasn't there yesterday. We stood in front of it. It reeked like meat left to rot in summer heat. Mark raised the bat and pushed the door open. Inside was a pitch-black staircase leading upward. No light, just the scent of mold, dust, and something alive. We went in. Halfway up, Mark stopped. He gripped my arm hard. Do you hear that? A low, guttural sound, not quite growling, echoed above us. Then, ... words. One goes, one stays. Something slammed into us from above. I fell back, cracking my shoulder against the wall. Mark screamed. Then silence. I scrambled to my feet and ran up the rest of the stairs, calling his name. I burst into a small, windowless room with stone walls, and empty, completely empty. Mark was gone. The door behind me vanished. Trapped, alone, no phone, no time, no sound, except for a single whisper every night at 12:17 a.m. You stayed. Still here, writing this on scraps, scratching it into walls. Someone finds this, don't open the attic. Don't listen to the breathing. Never trust silence in the dead of night. It's not silence. Listening, waiting, watching for you. I don't scare easily. I'm 29, former security guard, and I've worked night shifts in half-abandoned buildings with nothing but rats and bad wiring to keep me company. But what happened last Monday has burned itself into my mind like an infection I can't scrape away. It was 3:03 a.m. when I first heard the knock. Not on the front door, not on the back, on the window. I live in a 5th-floor apartment. No balcony, a ledge wide enough for someone to stand on. I thought maybe it was a bird, maybe even a branch, but I knew better. It was slow. 3 knocks. Sharp, measured, as if someone knew I was awake. I was lying in bed, half asleep, and at first I didn't move. Then it came again. Knock, knock, knock. The window curtain shifted slightly. Just a ripple. No wind, no AC draft, just movement. I got up, my breath shallow. Didn't turn the lights on. I didn't want whatever was outside to see me more clearly. I crept to the window and slowly peeled the curtain back. Nothing but the dark street. 5 stories down and the orange glow of a street lamp. But as I turned away, I noticed something scrawled backward on the glass dot, written with a finger. From the outside, don't close your eyes. Asterisk. The next night, I stayed up. Not out of curiosity, out of fear. I left every light in the apartment on, every curtain wide open. I even called my best friend, Joel, and had him on a call with me just to have a voice. When the clock hit 3:03 a.m., I stared at the window. No knock, no message, nothing. I relaxed a little, even laughed nervously on the phone. Maybe I was overtired, I told Joel. Sleep deprivation makes people hallucinate. Then my TV flicked on. Static. No input. Ni image. Grainy. Like an old VHS tape. My apartment window. Filmed from the outside. The same message. On the glass. Appeared on the screen. Don't close your eyes. Joel was still talking to me through the phone, but I couldn't hear him anymore. The static had grown louder, a low roar. On the screen, something moved past the window, a face, pale and long, with wide, unblinking eyes, gliding across as if it were floating outside. Then the TV cut to black dot. My phone went dead, and the knock came again. Knock, knock, muck. But this time, it wasn't just one window. It came from every wall, all around me. Asterisk. I haven't slept since Tuesday. That was 5 days ago. Every night, exactly at 3:03 a.m., it returns, not always knocking, sometimes whispering, sometimes playing sounds of my own voice, speaking things I've never said. I set up cameras, motion sensors. Toning records it. The footage always cuts out between 3:03 and 3:04. It's like that time doesn't exist. One minute it's 3:02, the next 3:05, but I'm awake during it. I feel it. And last night, it came inside. I was in the bathroom, lights off, trying to stay quiet. I don't know why, just felt like if I moved, it would find me faster. At 3:03, I heard the floor creak outside the door. Not walking, sliding, like something dragging its limbs across the hardwood. The doorknob twisted, not fast, slow, enough to let me know it could come in. And then a voice, my voice, whispered from the other side. Sleep is the doorway. You've been opening it. The lights exploded overhead. A glass shattered onto the tile. I blacked out. When I woke up, it was daylight. My front door was wide open, and every mirror in the apartment had been turned toward the ceiling. One had writing carved in it. See you again at 3:03. Tonight is coming. I've tried leaving. I made it 12 blocks before I looked at a bus stop advertisement and saw my face on it. Eyes closed, mouth sewn shut. This thing, whatever it is, isn't from here. It doesn't follow rules. It doesn't care if I move, scream, beg, or pray. It only cares that I'm awake when the world forgets the seconds. Between seconds, at 3:03 a.m. if you're reading this. Never stay up past 3 a.m. Never listen to the knocking. And never, ever fall asleep again once you've heard it whisper your name. Because that's how it finds you. That's how it enters. And once it's inside, never leaves. It waits for your eyes to close. I moved into a one-bedroom apartment in late April. It wasn't fancy, just a corner unit at the end of a long, narrow hall on the 3rd floor. Cheap rent, quiet building, decent view. I was recovering from a breakup, trying to reset my life. Solitude seemed like a good idea. For the first week, it was peaceful. But on the 8th night, something changed. At exactly 2:58 a.m., I woke up to a low, mechanical humming. It wasn't loud, but it vibrated through my mattress, subtle and steady. I sat up, trying to locate the source. The fridge, the heater. No, it was coming from the far wall of my bedroom, the one that shared space with an empty unit next door. I put my ear to it. Click, click, like a machine powering something unnatural. Then it stopped. Dead silence. I went back to bed, unsettled, but told myself it was just the building settling. Maybe the plumbing. But then, just as I was about to drift off, knock, 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 3 sharp knocks from the wall behind my bed. I jumped, heart slamming. Kay waited. Then a voice, muffled, raspy. Are you alone? I stared at the wall. Frozen. I didn't respond. Dude, I didn't move. Eventually, it stopped. At 3:03 a.m. exactly. The next day, I asked the building manager about the unit next to mine. He blinked at me like I was speaking another language. Unit 3C, he asked. Yeah, I said. The one that shares my bedroom wall. He scratched his head. There's number 3C. You're the end of the hall. That wall's the outer structure. It faces the alley. No apartment there. I laughed, awkwardly, waiting for the joke to land. It didn't. He showed me the blueprint, flat and clear. My apartment, wall, then alley. No neighboring room. No other tenant. But someone was behind that wall. I had heard it. Felt it. That night, I didn't sleep. I stared at that wall. I turned off all the lights. I pressed my phone to record and placed it beside me. I watched the clock. At 2:58 a.m., the humming returned. Louder now, like something. Charging. Then dash click. Then dash knock. Knock knock. This time, I whispered back. Who are you? Silence, then scratching, like fingernails dragging on the other side of drywall. Then, let me out. The wall began to bolt. The drywall pushed outward, like something was pressing from the inside. Slow, steady. I ran. I didn't go back the next day. I went to my brother's place, across town. I showed him the audio, the knocks, the voice. He believed me because he'd seen things 2 years ago. He helped me file a maintenance request to check the wall. They opened it up. With me there, the contractors took sledgehammers to the drywall. But instead of insulation and pipes, they found a hollow space. A room, no bigger than a closet. No light, no wiring. No door to access it from anywhere else. Just for blackened walls, and the stench of rot so strong one of the guys threw up. On the spot, and there was something inside. A chair, metal, rusted, bolted to the floor. Straps, bloodstains, and scratches all over the walls from the inside. One sentence. Repeated hundreds of times in every direction. Greater than I see you when it's night. That night, I went home to grab the last of my things at 2:58 a.m., even with the wall destroyed. The humming started again, but this time it was coming from inside my head. My nose bled. My vision pulsed, and at 3:03 a.m., saw it in the corner of the empty wall cavity. A face, pale, sunken, no stride, no eyes, just a mouth stretched impossibly wide. It whispered, "There's no wall between us anymore." I ran. I never went back, but it still finds me every night at 3:03. Even in different cities, different homes. The humming returns, and when I close my eyes, I feel the drywall tightening around me, like it's rebuilding a space just big enough to trap me in. So if you ever hear a hum in the dead of night, wait, run, break the wall before it breaks you. It started 2 weeks after I moved into the new rental, a third-floor unit in an aging apartment block on the outskirts of Mumbai Chep. It's quiet and a bit run down, but it was all I could afford after quitting my night shift job. That first week was peaceful. I spent my nights reading, watching films, and falling asleep to the sound of distant traffic. But everything changed on a Tuesday night, just past 2:50 a.m. I woke up suddenly. No noise, no dream. Just an unnatural jolt, as if something inside me had been pulled awake. I sat up, disoriented. My room was dark except for a faint orange streetlight cutting through the curtain. I listened. Good creak. It came from the floor beneath my bed. Not the wood shifting. Not pipes. It was rhythmic, like footsteps. Slow, measured. Creak, creak. But I'm on the 3rd floor, and my unit, Tate's, the topmost. No one above. Nothing below except a storage crawl space that was supposed to be sealed. Still. I got up, heart racing, and pressed my ear to the floor. Tap. Something tapped back. Once, then again, a teen. Then it dragged its nails along the underside of the wood. I jumped. Up. Flicked on the light. Silence. I told myself I was tired. Tia, I was imagining things. I took a sleeping pill and passed out by 4 a.m., but the next night returned. The next night. I didn't take any pills. I wanted to prove it was nothing. I stayed up reading until the clock ticked to 57 a.m., then turned everything off and laid still in bed. Eyes open. At 2:59, it started. Creak, creak, tap. This time, closer, directly beneath me. I didn't move, didn't breathe. Then it spoke. From under the floor, A whisper so soft it barely touched the air. "You're in my spot." I shot out of bed and pulled back the rug. My hands trembled as I searched for any kind of hatch or loose board, but found none. Just old, cracked wooden. Then I saw something written red marker, nearly faded beneath the rug's shadow. Greater than. "Do not lie here. After 3 a.m. I left the apartment that night. Slept in my car. I called the landlord the next morning. Said no one had lived in the unit for 5 years before me. Said it had been sealed due to complaints." I asked, "What kind?" He paused and said, "Strange noises. That's all. Should have left then, but I didn't. I needed the money. I convinced myself I could outlast it. The next night, I went back. I shouldn't have. Asterisk, I slept on the couch. Lights on, doors locked. 2:58 a.m. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I didn't answer. Then it called again and again. On the 5th call, I picked up. Static. Then a voice, like mine but not quite. "You're above me." I dropped the phone. My lights flickered. Creak, tap, creak. Then the floor beneath the couch began to bulge, as if something inside the floorboards was trying to rise up, slowly pushing its way through the wood. I ran into the bathroom, locked the door. I could hear it dragging its limbs across the living room floor. Slow, wet. Then it began to whisper through the walls. "You heard me. You stayed. You are mine now. Tina, sleep." Tina slopped. It stopped. I moved out that day. Left 90% of my stuff behind. I don't care. I don't want it. But now everywhere I sleep I hear it. Always at 3 o'clock. A.m. No matter the city. No matter the floor. It finds me. Beneath the bed. Behind the wall. Inside the dark. It knocks. It whispers. And it waits. Because I answered. And now, it knows where I am. So if you ever hear footsteps under your bed in the dead of night, don't listen. Don't move, and never answer back. That's how it starts. That's how you're claimed. I've never liked the quiet. The silence doesn't comfort me, exposes things, creaks, breathing patterns, the subtle ticking of a clock that I never remembered buying. But lately, the silence had changed. It wasn't empty anymore. It was watching it. Began on a Thursday night. I was working late on my laptop, the living room washed in the blue glow of the screen. My building's usually full of noise TVs, music, couples arguing through the walls. But that night, it was dead silent, like the whole building was holding its breath at exactly 3:26 a.m. The power blinked. Not off, just a flicker, not enough to shut down the computer, but long enough for the lights to dim, the monitor to hiss, and the air to feel colder. Then my screen, glitched. Just for a second, so fast I thought I imagined it. But I swear, instead of my open work document, there was an image. It was me, sitting exactly where I was. Only the photo was darker, like it had been taken from behind. I turned around instantly. No one there. I told myself it was a system glitch. Maybe malware. I ran a virus scan. Found nothing. I decided to go to bed, but I left every light on at 3:27. Just before I closed my eyes, I heard it. A voice whispered from the corner of my room. You looked back. Asterisk. The next day, I unplugged everything. Laptop, Wi-Fi, router, phone, chargers. I went to work, stayed late, avoided my apartment like it was infected. That night, I made a decision. I wouldn't stay up. I'd take sleeping pills, knock myself out, and ignore the weirdness. I fell asleep by 11 p.m., but still. I woke up 3:26 a.m. Exactly, my eyes opened without reason. No sound, no dream. Snap-dash awake, and the lights were off, even though I'd left them all on. Worse, the mirror in the corner of my room, an antique floor length. One that came with the apartment, was fogged up like someone had just breathed on it. Then, slowly, a handprint appeared on the inside. I couldn't move. I stared, paralyzed, as a shadow began to form in the reflection. Not in the room, only in the mirror. It was tall, thin, the face just shifting skin, as though it hadn't chosen what to become yet. Then it pointed, slowly, directly at me, and a new fogged word formed next to the handprint. Greater than. Still awake, I ran. Asterisk, I left the apartment. Crashed at a friend's place. Told her it was sleep paralysis, stress, insomnia, whatever excuse sounded most sane. But the next night, it happened again. 3:26 a.m. I woke up. This time, there was no clock nearby. I checked my phone, and it was dead. But I knew the time. Something in my blood knew it. It's like a cold alarm clock buried inside my bones. And then I saw it. Across the room in my friend's apartment, on the wall above the door, a small clock I had never seen before. It ticked 3:26. A dot, M, dot, and beneath it, scrawled in something dark and wet, greater than it follows who sees. Suddenly, a shadow crossed in front of the clock, human-shaped, gliding dot. Then another whisper. You should not have seen time stop. The shadow moved across the room without sound, without feet, until it stood directly beside me. But when I turned to face it, there was no one there. Only the feeling that someone was pressed inside my skin, looking out through my eyes. I can't run anymore. I tried different homes, different cities. But at 3:26 a.m., I always wake up. And every night, the reflection gets clearer. It's becoming me, molding itself into my face, into my life. Soon, no one will know which one of us is real. So if you ever see your clock flicker at 3:26 a.m. even for a second, do not look at your reflection. Don't blink, don't breathe, and for the love of everything, don't look back, because once you do, you're not the only one in your body anymore. I live alone in a third-floor studio apartment above a closed tailor shop. It's a quiet street, especially at night, so quiet that any sound stands out like a scream. But what I started hearing around 3 a.m. didn't belong to the world. I knew it began on a Monday night. I'd just gotten into bed after watching a documentary with the volume low. Outside, the city was hushed. But as I turned off the lights and let the dark settle in, I heard it. One step, then another, then a third, fourth dot, Foss. I sat up. The footsteps were coming from the hallway outside my apartment. Door slow, heavy, measured, but they always stopped after the fourth step. No, fifth. I waited. Nothing. Curious and a little nervous, I peeked through the empty hallway. I chalked it up to someone upstairs, a neighbor getting home late. Maybe the acoustics played tricks, but the next night, the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Silence. This time I didn't open the door. I just listened. After a minute, the doorknob twitched. Just once. Gently. Then the air in my apartment dropped. Not the temperature, the pressure. Like something vast and wrong was just outside, waiting. Asterisk. By the fifth night, I was terrified to sleep. I tried staying up with music on, but even through headphones, I could feel it coming. At 3:02 a.m., Everything in the apartment went silent. My phone froze. The music stopped. The lights dimmed. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a voice directly behind me. "You forgot the fifth." I jumped up and turned. No one was there, but something was. I could feel it, like static electricity, crawling along my skin, but colder, hungrier. I grabbed my keys and ran out of the apartment barefoot. There was no one in the hallway. But the footsteps started again, 1.2.3.4. right behind me. I turned down the stairs. Each step I took was followed by those same 4 echoing behind. Then nothing. I slept in my car that night at 3:26 a.m. I woke up sweating. There were footprints on the inside of my windshield. Footprints, right in front of my face, and written above them in fog, "Where's your fifth?" Asterisk. I went back to the apartment the next day with a priest. Not even kidding. Blessed the walls. Said it was probably just residual energy. That night, I turned off all the lights, sat in the middle of the room, waited. 3 a.m. the apartment grew cold. 3:02 a.m. It began again. 1.2.3.4. I stood up, heart pounding, breath shallow, and I stepped forward once. A fifth step. That's when everything shifted. I wasn't in my apartment anymore. I was in a hallway, completely dark, narrow, with no doors, only footsteps echoing in both directions. Except they weren't mine. I turned to run, but the fifth step had locked me in, and then I saw them talked figures all around me. In the dark, people who'd taken the fifth step, their mouths were sewn shut. Their eyes were wide open. I screamed. Nothing came out. My voice didn't work there. Suddenly, I was back, in my apartment, same place, same time, but the lights wouldn't turn on. My phone said 3:01 a.m. It was like the fifth step had taken me out of time and brought me back wrong. Now, every night, I hear others in the hallway. More than one now. They always take 4 steps. Then they wait for someone to take the fifth. I can feel something inside me, whispering, trying to pull me back to that place. Please, if you ever hear footsteps at 3 a.m. and they stop after 4, don't move. Don't take the fifth step, because once you do, you never really come back.